Okay, I never know which screen you see.
It's up.
Okay, is it black or is it big?
It's big and it also shows your preview of your next slide.
Mm, How's that?
Perfect.
Um, I have two monitors, so I can never, when I select share, I can never figure out what it's doing. Um, Excellent. So this is super informal. Interrupt me whenever you want. My name is Jen Danielson. I work for Goldstream Group as a program evaluator. And I do a lot of thinking about how to make how to put data in a usable form. So that's the direction this is coming from. So this in general is about dashboards, but I'm not going to tell you how to make a dashboard. That's too hard. Okay. It changes every week. Um, so I'm just going to talk about how to prioritize um, what goes into a dashboard, how to think about what you might want out of a dashboard. Um, and yeah, interrupt me whenever you want. So my concept is to talk about what goes on a dashboard, how to present the data you put there, what kinds of dashboards there are, um, some suggestions about technology tools you can use. Again, those change like every week. So um, it's really hard to keep up with that. Um, a couple of examples and then discussion. So there is so much data in the world right now. Sometimes the biggest problem is narrowing down what is actually going to be useful. So normally when people are doing a dashboard, they're doing it for some particular reason. They want to make their data usable, make it so that they can incorporate it, like into their decision making. What data do we have and what does it say in a way that you can digest it? So if you're going to make a dashboard, you have to think about who is the audience? Um, is it for the staff? So do you need to know who's going to work on which day? Or is it for your um, admin staff? Like, is it need like quarterly reports and annual report kind of information? Is it for your funder who wants to know your progress on some goals? Um, so it's sometimes you can make a multi-use dashboard, but usually you want to really be clear about why are you doing this dashboard. Also the time scale, what makes sense, that's what I just mentioned. Is this something that people need to know the information for today or at the end of the quarter or at the end of the year? And that's time scale of both where the data comes from. So if you only get if you're using YRBS data and it only comes every 2 years, if you're lucky, um, then you don't need a live dashboard to show that, or you can put a static YRBS chart on there. Um, and then also what time scale are you reporting in, quarterly or monthly or whatever. So both the time scale of use and the time scale of source. And then how much data is relevant. It's always tempting to be like, oh, we can throw in the criminal history data, or we can throw in the um whatever. Be really bound your dashboard to what you can actually use. Um, because essentially everything you put on your dashboard can break. So you want to make it there when you need it, and not put things that you minimally need that are going to cause problems with it being able to use the other stuff. So there's different, whoops, there's different kinds of dashboards. And I think this talk was billed as interactive dashboards. Interactive dashboards are the kind where you can put up lots of data and you can filter it by your community or your year or your school district or whatever. So the user can see different charts based on what they click. Um, yeah, those are, if that's what, if you have several staff and they each need to make a quarterly report on their region, then you want to make sure it's an interactive dashboard. If you, um, yeah, so that's available, you can do it. Again, you don't want to make too much things that can break. So if it's YRBS data, it's not going to change every quarter, and you might just make that a static table. I think somebody joined, so welcome. I can't see who you are. Uh, a live dashboard is, something you can do with like survey responses coming back. Um, most dashboards don't need to be live, and it does add an element of security often. Like, do depending on who has access to the dashboard, whether you want it live or not should be a real serious conversation. Um, and then static dashboards can be an economical way to do it because that just a regularly updated picture is kind of a gets the data to the people that need it in a way that is simple to achieve. So when you're planning your dashboard, it's really, you really want something that such that the data that you're reporting is available for your strategic planning or your however whatever the data is intended to be used for. So it's important to be thoughtful about what kind of chart you're going to use to show the data to make it accessible in the simplest way. Um, so these kind of charts are all, um, there's zillions of these. If you ask Google, what kind of chart should I use? Um, but the concepts are really, it's easy to get muddled, and it's really important in making data that's useful or digestible. So if you're going to compare values like this school to that school, this age group to that age group, bars and columns are great because you can see the length next to each other. Um, so if you have two or three or four groups and you're comparing how they do a certain thing, a bar graph, a trend over time would be like um, number of arrests over a 5-year period. Then you just want a line, you want it simple um, and clean. If you're going to show like distribution of gender of your people you serve, a pie or donut chart is really intuitive and easy to read, but they go way down if you have more than three like wedges to the pie. They get really hard to read really fast when there's some teeny ones and then they have all these labels sticking out. So it's a good idea to group your things to force it to two or three things. Like even if you know the age, if you have 7 age range groups, add some together to make your pie easy to read. So instead of reporting 5 to 12 and 12 to 18, just report 5 to 18, whatever. Um, correlations. So I can't think of like if you're doing GPAs versus attend number of seminars attended or something, scatter plots are good. You can see if your thing benefits a group, whether it looks like a line, but you need two factors that can go the whole span of a length of something. So if you have only two seminars, you don't want to have, you want to go back to your bar or column chart. And then geographic data, maps are getting easier and easier to make, and then have like this region a darker color than that region. Um, so those are fun to have.
Jen, could you define what a oropleth is?
It's just a really fun word for a map that has darker colors where things,
Gotcha.
but if you need to Google a map that has zones in darker colors, or like lighter to darker colors, depending on how many people in that region are participating, choropleth is the name of that. Plus, it's a cool word. So these are sort of a range of kinds of tools. Like I said, these tools are constantly developing right now. Google Looker Studio is free if you have Gmail. Um, it has it's pretty intuitive. The data is in Google Sheets, so sometimes people already keep their data in Google Sheets, so you can hook up your Google Sheets to your dashboard without a lot of extra transfer or data manipulation. Um, you can make you can use Google Looker to have interactive things on your dashboard for user filtering. You can post they can be posted online very easily with just with permissions. Tableau um, is like the fancy version of making a dashboard. You can um, Tableau makes really beautiful, professional looking dashboards with logos and colors and depths of colors. And um, it is expensive, and you have to have subscriptions at different levels to be able to build and see different levels of. Um, so if you are a bigger organization that has lots of data and has someone that can just work on your dashboard, Tableau is probably the way to go. But if you just want to share data with your colleagues, Google Looker is accessible, and you might have only 5 colors to choose from or whatever, but it'll be fine. Um, and you don't need a subscription. SurveyMonkey, if you're just reporting SurveyMonkey to someone that did your survey, you can within SurveyMonkey, they have a little dashboard tool that you can share either with the public or with your stakeholders. And then the like what Kara was talking about earlier, Excel does a really nice job of making a spreadsheet, and then having you can update the data in the spreadsheet, and it updates the chart on a different page in the spreadsheet. It's really old school. It's not linked to anything. You have to email it to somebody, or the chart doesn't come out right. But it's solid, and you get long-term running, um, like a long-term record of your data. So the behavioral health grants, you probably still do, I don't know, require an MIS. They were all built in Excel. And I think we're probably moving away from that into more active dashboards. But sometimes the budget and the skill that you want to put into it, Excel is just fine. So I just wanted to give a couple of examples to show what we're talking about. I'm gonna, I don't know if I can click on a link in here. Does that, can you see the data dashboard, or you still I'm gonna stop share and reshare my whole world. Okay, now I can't tell where I am. Can you see the Caroline dashboard? So this is available online. The link is in the slides. This is the Caroline of Alaska dashboard. It made in Google Looker. My colleague Kayla here at Goldstream Group made it. It is static. There's no you can't click, you can't adjust for a different month or a population or whatever, but they change it every month. So this is what the stakeholders and the funders of Caroline wanted to see, how their monthly things change. They don't want a record of it. They just want to see each month how they're doing. Yeah, Sarah.
So basically, like each month they'll go in to Looker, Google Looker, and like add the updated data. And so Google Looker is like, and then they can like run a new report or, and then it'll
Exactly.
create, it sounds like maybe there's already like the dashboard is set up
Yeah,
for
there,
these different key data points, and then they just add it and then can put like the date range and make the dashboard
yes.
accordingly kind of
So
thing. Cool.
Caroline
Yeah.
was already doing a monthly report in a Google Sheet. Um, and so those sheets get forwarded now to their Looker site, and every month they update the sheet and it updates this, and then they save it and put it on the web because they didn't want the security risk of anybody able to get into those sheets. Um, but they make it pretty easily.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Do you have an S like for something like this with Looker? Do you happen to know about how much that costs to have that? I think your Looker wasn't it's not free, right? I
Looker
think you were
is
saying.
free,
This is
but
free? Oh, okay.
the software is free, but getting Kayla to make these pictures on it is not free.
So the when it comes back as a dashboard, so like if you put it into Looker, this is not it holds the information, but it doesn't hold the visual.
Um, Looker is
I
just a
see.
place where you can go with building blocks and arrange charts in different ways. And so then you have to tell each chart where to get the data. So,
Okay.
um, and then once you have, I'm going to have 9 charts and they're going to be arranged like this. You just keep adding new data every month and it keeps printing it out again.
Cool. So when you say that what Kayla does that isn't free to make it look like this, does that
She
mean so it
decided
doesn't
it
come
was
out? Okay.
she
I see.
decided how to connect um, the Caroline's monthly reports with this blue square and um, the font and whatever. So she directed Looker to um, make these graphs in this configuration. But it's like sharing a Google form or whatever. Like once she has this saved template, they
Yeah.
can just keep putting their new monthly reports in, and it makes a new one of these every time. But it's always blue, orange, green, the answered by month bars. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think another way of saying it is like Kayla designed the template within Looker, and then the Caroline can go in and update the data. And Kayla's, when she designed the template, it's connected to the sheet, so then the data automatically will update.
Okay. So like for example, like for May when they put in their information, let's say they update all these different data sources, the template's already there, so it automatically will pop out a report. The report will look like this.
yes,
But you have to put in that like at that initial time to create your template. Okay.
correct.
But this is for but once other than the time that it takes, the actual like looker itself is free. Like other
Yeah,
than the
there's
staff
no
time. Yeah.
right. Like Tableau has a monthly subscription to be able to open your view, but Looker is just free forever, just like all your other Google Docs.
It's incredible. It's, mm,
Uh,
thank you.
and then we at Goldstream Group we try Tableau. We have a subscription to Tableau, but we the last few times we've gone back to using either Excel or Looker um because none of our clients can commit, and us either can commit to a subscription. Tableau also constantly upgrades to better technology, which is awesome, but it also like things break then. It doesn't, like, you do your monthly report and like, oh, now you have to have 3 decimal points or whatever to go fix it. Um, so you know what Tableau looks like. The YRBS data is a Tableau um, dashboard, and it has these little drop down things so you can change your topic and you can change your school district, and then it gives you the data, or you can do year. Yeah, so it's user driven, but again, most small organizations neither have the volume of data nor the need to break it into so many things where that would be necessary. So that's the information I have for today. Um, well, um,
I had one more other comment about Google Looker too, is that like Kayla, who did the Caroline dashboard, she's super talented with data visualization. Um, However, there's a lot that you can learn. Like we have somebody else in our office who just kind of learned how to do a bunch of stuff with Google Looker. Like there's tutorials out there and YouTube videos and whatnot. So there is, I think, room to like go in there and play around with it and kind of, if you have the capacity to do that, to just say, hey, let me see how far I can get with Google Looker Studio. Like maybe it's not as fancy as what Kayla put together, but it could also be like, or maybe it is as fancy as what Kayla, some people are just really good at that kind of stuff that you may be able to put something together with Google Looker Studio that works for you.
yeah, so I just so you just this is Google, what Google Looker looks like when you don't have a I don't know it well enough to add things. But you essentially drag data into squares, and then you can mess around with what kind of chart you want to make. Um, but you're under no obligation. It's the same as Google Sheet or a Google Doc. Um, if you have the Google things, you have Google Looker already.
Technology is just incredible what you can do. Yeah, it helps, I think, to demystify dashboards. I think this has been real helpful to like, because I think sometimes you're like data dashboards, and it's like, what is that all, and just to know that there's like technology out there to like help with it, maybe not make it as, although this looks really awesome. It is nice because I do think data, can be so powerful with telling a story for like a quick like snapshot, and can be so it can be yeah, it's just easier to regurgitate and process. I'm like a very visual person, so to me, like to see this is a lot more helpful than what like a Google Sheet would be. um so this has been really helpful, and I think I know like our board, for example, at Recover Alaska likes to see like our finances. Like we go through 4 Acre for finances and they'll like our guy Toby Smith, who's incredible, will do these different like pie charts and different things. And we're always kind of playing around to be like, what makes the most sense? How is this, like what information are people wanting to see? What is helpful? Yeah, so it's something good to think about for sure. So thank you very much for demystifying it, Jen.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
it really the choosing what to put on there is yeah, that spend a lot of time on it because if it's either hard to get or it's hard to interpret quickly, then maybe it has to go in a report instead, you know.
cool. Thank you all very much. This is great. And thanks for joining us.
Are there other questions about dashboards?
No. I want to say thank you. I learning. I start late, but the few minutes I was here, I learning a lot because that part is intimidated sometimes. and and how Sarah said, more as are visual and it's easy when we have a dashboard to make the story easy to other people. And I was looking how to do a dashboard for many projects I'm working with. And I was working with Excel all the time, but Excel is very difficult. and but I didn't realize after you say today that it's very old school and it's another tool there. And I learned to this Google Locker, and it was, oh my gosh, I Google and it's more a lot of tool Google has, but I working also for the state. That means we only use Microsoft. We don't use Google, and I don't have access for Google. But in my personal time, um, use Google
I don't,
because more organization, more non-profit organization working with Google.
yeah, and maybe Microsoft has a parallel. I don't, yeah, I don't, like I say, like the tools are changing all the time.
All the
And
time. Yeah, you need to be updated or be around people normally used to be outdated, but sometimes we are not, you know. Yeah, the people doing the dashboard is in another division, and but when you need it, you are a struggle. But it was wonderful. Looks so nice. I have too many ideas now for what I wanted to do for one of my personal project.
I just did a quick Google search. It came up that Microsoft's direct equivalent to Google Looker is Microsoft Power BI.
Mhm.
I've never heard of it. Have you heard of it, Jen?
yes, I didn't know it was Microsoft though. But if you Google how to make a dashboard, it comes up with Looker, Tableau, and BI. So
Yeah.
Okay. So that might be something that is worth exploring if you don't have access to Google. And I know it's not just an issue for state agencies. I have some other clients that just their policy is that they don't use Google. So um, you don't
Yeah.
want to have to do your dashboards on your personal time.
No, yeah, and also it's a lot is going on. I forget the name. It's a lot of all the data or dashboard need to be with a federal requirement now. That is a lot of communication, go back and forth about what we can communicate and how the language, the letter, all of that. It was um, it was a very big moving forward this year because you can see in the state they was remove a lot of dashboard because they need to update with that requirement. It's a federal requirement now. I forgot the name. Let me Google. Let me look my email. But it's so
Yeah,
new.
accessibility and like being able to navigate from the different squares with your keys and not just your mouse, things like that are becoming more and more important.
Yeah,
So
no, yeah, but also they is the is a process they needed to every single um photo or every single picture need to be a report what they have it in case people don't read or they using the reading application in her phone the AI or the system can read for them.
Yeah, I don't know if Looker can do that um, by itself, but I know it's purposeful that all of these charts on the Caroline one have only one color and that's related to that accessibility issue.
That's really good to know with making it easy to read for everybody. So using same colors in each block, not mixing up the colors. Like if I've seen that where like the yeah, some of the charts will use different colors to show the different bar graphs kind of thing, but that's considered not accessible. Jen, is that what
It's
you're
not, it's
saying?
hard for people with vision issues.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That's good to know. Thank
Yeah.
you.
not directly tying into that, but related to it, one of our earlier presentations this year, I want to say might have been the March presentation. Kayla actually presented on some data visualization and just some basics about different types of charts and how to use them effectively. And that presentation would actually tie in really nicely with this one Jen mentioned, thinking about what types of charts you're using and how many slices you want in a pie chart, and our discussion about the use of different colors and whatnot. And I know Kelby is working on getting the recordings of those. There also are, going back to your earlier question, Sarah, about setting up Google Looker dashboards. Um, I just Googled while we were talking tutorials. There's a gazillion tutorials if you just Google it. Like everything else, you can, find lots of YouTube videos, but it might be a good way to just kind of dive in and get a feel for it and what you can do with it. And like, is this something that I feel like I want to learn or I can learn, or do I want to contract with somebody who can design it for me so that I can just update it?
Do you guys do that? Like design the things where you just have to put it in like this? Nice. Do you have not to put you on the spot, if you're like, we would need to know about what the data is, feel free to say so, but like how much, for ourselves and maybe anybody else who's watching, what kind of costs for setting up like a dashboard like this where it would get set up, but you would just have to go in and input data? What does the cost of that look like for something like
I
this?
have no idea.
Yeah, we really can't answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super dependent on your program. A
Okay.
lot of times, typically when we have a project like that, what we'll do is we'll sit down and have a conversation with you
Okay.
about what your needs are, what your budget is, what you want to get out of it, and then we'll like give you a proposal. And Angela is
Okay.
the person that handles most of that.
Okay.
So if you wanted to look into it, you could email any one of us and then we can direct it to Angela, or if you have her
Okay.
email address, you can send her an email directly.
Cool.
Yeah, but
And
there's
like you
like
guys, oh, okay.
go ahead.
Oh, would you guys like, so part of that might be like setting up like how to capture the data, how to input it. It sounds like, yeah, like the template would be set up, but also kind of figuring out how to put it in like a workflow of like where you need to add each month kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Because
we
we
can.
did, like, Kayla did this dashboard as part of a, like, this was like the report for another big project. So she just, instead of doing a written report, she made a dashboard for them. So I couldn't break it out of like what a dashboard would cost because it was part of a whole analysis of their flow.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. Okay.
Any other dashboard related questions? It's, I think the key also, what Jen mentioned several times is that the technology is constantly changing just when we have it figured out and something switches, and that whole idea of like really keeping it concise, so that we have as few parts to possibly break as possible, and that we can keep up with it and that it's useful for you. All right, good. Well, if any other questions come up, feel free to just give us a shout. If you don't have our contact information, Kara or Tesha can connect you with us. This is the evaluation and learning work group meeting, so just I want to give you guys just a quick update on the evaluation because we're nearing the end of the fiscal year.